A new study reveals that Gen Z boys at fewer levels believe in gender equality as parents react shockingly. Gender equality as a statement is a trick, okay? Equal rights under the law, A-OK, fantastic. But when you say equal, what do these Gen Z boys hear? That you're going to treat men and women the exact same. And that makes literally no sense. You're not going to ask your average female to carry a 150-pound duffel bag. The guy's going to do it. And you're not going to ask a guy on average to be a waitress or a server. That's reality. I can already hear people saying, if women want to do heavy lifting and work, they can. Of course they can. If men want to be service industry, of course, yes, they can. But guess what? Take a look at the numbers. Women tend to get hired for service sector jobs like 10 to 1. I'm exaggerating, but it's substantially greater numbers. If you're a small restaurant, I guarantee you go to a restaurant, you're going to find young women more likely to be the server. Higher end restaurants, it's mixed. It could be male or female because that requires training. But at the entry level, women are doing service jobs. They're secretaries, they're clerks, they're teachers, they're nurses, men, all of the jobs they do. In the past 100 years of gender equality, women have not chosen, on average, different jobs. They're doing the exact same ones. Here's a story from the New York Post. It started with a TikTok that went viral. Creator Olivia Ray looked straight down at the camera and said, "Boy, mums and boy dads, what is going on with your sons?" Indeed. Do they actually have the link here? I don't know if they actually have the link. Oh, I think they do. Let's just play the video. Is it gonna play? We gotta unmute it.
Hey, boy moms and boy dads, I just have one question for you. What the fuck is going on with your sons? Now, I know that Gen Z men are more religious than ever.
Yep.
Fine. And I know that Gen Z men are voting more Republican than ever.
Uh-huh.
But there was a chart that I saw today on the Breaking Points podcast that actually sent me into orbit. This is from David Waldron on Substack. Fewer American boys believe in gender equality.
Yep.
As compared to 1990.
So here's what she's pointing out. The question: a woman should have the same job opportunities as men. It's dropped 12 points since, I think that says 2018. Men and women should be paid the same money if they do the same work. It has dropped 8 points. That's crazy. That's crazy. Agree completely and agree at all have both dropped substantially. I got to admit, I didn't see that one coming. Because I'll say this, like, if you do the same job, you get paid. But even men are not right saying, young men, Gen Z men are saying, no, men should get paid more, period.
The two questions they asked a group of 8th and 10th graders were, should a woman have the same job opportunities as a man? Which fell off a cliff.
Yep.
And
subscribe
should men and women
to this
be
channel,
paid
by the way.
The same money if they do the same work? Also fell off a cliff.
Yep, try more.
As is true with race, perceived inequality is not a naturally occurring phenomenon. These are messages that are intentionally planted into the minds of young boys. We all need to figure out who's planting them so that we can plant different seeds. David looked at a few different factors, and he found that the decrease in feminist views occurred mostly among boys who say religion is important in their life.
Yep.
So if you have a son who is going to church, it may be worth double checking to make sure that what they're teaching is actually in line with the teachings of Jesus Christ. I know this sounds...
Oh, my brain. It's like she's drilling into it. Lady, let me tell you, ain't no chance that these young men, their parents are telling them this. None of the, could you imagine this? Like a Christian conservative parent being like, I better check on my 20-year-old son who doesn't believe in gender equality by going to church. They're already going to church with them. They don't need to check on them. They're at church with them. They brought them to church. The kids go to church because their parents brought them with them. Yo, these women are nuts. These feminists are crazy.
Woke, but Jesus was in fact a brown immigrant who challenged the social and power hierarchies at the time. If you recall, he flipped the tables. He defended the sex worker.
You know nothing of theology, and it is laughable when these people. I'm not a Christian. I'm not going to pretend to be, but I'm also not stuck. Okay. Lady, when you're coming out here saying Jesus was a brown immigrant who flipped the tables, it's like, look, you can't go to a Christian and say, I know nothing of your religion. I don't respect it. I call you backwards on a daily basis. Let me now teach you about your own Lord and Savior. That's not going to work. These parents are bringing their kids to church. The things their kids are learning are from the church. Their parents are glad it's happening.
All that. Some other reasons cited in the article were that Gen Z men just aren't having as much sex as they used to. To that I say, I'm sorry that you're not getting laid, but I don't know why that means I can't be gainfully employed. We all need to sit down with the young men in our lives, the sons, the nephews, the grandsons. I live near a college campus. I'm 5 seconds away from going and snatching a freshman up off the street. We need to tell them that women, trans people, and immigrants are not the reason they can't have nice things. It's the billionaires, the corporations, and the corrupt politicians who are in bed with them.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. You know, let's break this down. Oh, my heavens. Ma'am, you would benefit from reading. I just hope she sees this. I hope you see this video. You don't know anything about what Christians believe. You don't even know the basics. And I can't even pretend to start either, because I don't. I can certainly tell you that we had a debate between an Orthodox Christian and a Catholic, and oh boy, one of the most heated debates we've ever had on the Culture War podcast. Ma'am, immigrants, let's just start at the beginning of basic economics. Billionaires are not taking anything from you because money is not food. I understand your argument about when they should or should not pay taxes, but what you're really arguing is access and control. A billionaire has access to certain institutions through money and control of certain institutions through the trade of goods. But money is not food. If you took all the money in the world, the cash, and removed it, you would disrupt the trade, probably cause a depression. However, trade would continue amongst peoples who need to eat, and the system would reset and recover over a certain amount of time. Don't get me wrong. Money as a trade medium works. So when you blanketly say the trans people, the immigrants, and the billionaires are why you can't have nice things, you are so incredibly wrong, I'm going to break it down for you. First, trans people, obviously none of these young men are sitting there saying, like, because a person took hormones, I can't have nice things. That's not the case. The concern over trans is that it's a single granule, a grain of sand in the heap of culture. The billionaires, not the issue, and no one's upset with them. The arguments here about taxes and financing, a single granule is economic and meritocracy. And immigrants. It's funny that you hit on these 3 points. This is an issue of culture and economics together. Let me just try and make it really simple because you don't know what you're talking about. You didn't explain any of this, and I'll try and help people out. Billionaires not paying taxes will change nothing. The issue of corrupt politicians and billionaires is important, especially in issues of healthcare. We agree on that. But the reason why you can't have nice things across the board stems through a lot of these issues. First, immigrants, when there's too many of them, they displace low-skilled labor. There is relatively few high-skilled labor immigrants compared to low-skilled labor immigrants, meaning entry-level jobs for young Gen Z men are few and far between. This is why many of them can't start their lives. Failure to launch. Now, the issue of having sex has a lot to do with technology and is a cultural issue. The trans issue overlaps with this, but it's not one for one. The trans issue is largely a stemming of people, young men, want to have kids. But feminism and LGBTQ things are sterilizing kids and negatively impacting culture in a way that separates or that stops a culture from striving towards encouraging families. So, while it's not a one-for-one direct, it's indirect, it's culture-related. Why are young men concerned about the issue of transgender? They don't want kids sterilized. That's a moral issue. And they want a society that encourages men and women to get married and have kids, and this deviates from that. So, while not directly, it's a component. And the billionaires and the corruption. Certainly people are concerned about whether they can make money. But whether or not you can make money and buy a house has little to do with billionaires, a lot more to do with corrupt politicians that we agree on. And so we need to break this down. The overlap where we can agree is that financial interests and special interests subvert our interests. We agree on that. But when young men say, we want to return to virtue, we don't want this cultural degradation, and immigrants are displacing our jobs, this, at its heart, also has a component of anti-corruption. Hence, when Trump said, drain the swamp. But it's almost like they don't recognize this. that there is a concern about corrupt pharmaceutical companies, but the liberals defend it. You've got RFK Jr. being brought in by Trump to weed out the big pharma. Liberals and Democrats used to be opposed to the war machine and big pharma. Now they're in favor of it. So your point on billionaires, well noted, but you don't understand the problem. You say Elon Musk should pay taxes. Okay, well, I think Elon Musk should pay taxes, but he does. But that doesn't change the fact that big pharmaceutical companies dictate how big tech censors and silences us, but the liberals are on the side of censorship. Anyway, I digress. Gen Z boys are breaking free and learning. You are not. You live in a cult where you have generic ideas, generalized misinformation. So let me just lay it out one more time very simply. When you say parents check in on your kids at church, the parents brought them to that church intentionally. When you say it's not these issues, they know more about it than you do. That's why they're upset. From your place of ignorance, you told Christians who their Lord and Savior was. Did you ever bother to ask them why they think the things they do? You didn't. The argument that Jesus was a brown immigrant, liberal, socialist, whatever you want to argue, is false. It's just not correct. And I'm not going to pretend that I have the answers on this one. I'm simply going to say, I have a lot of friends who are Christian. Maybe you should ask them what they think before you tell them that their Lord was woke. I'm going to wrap it up there. Smash the like button, share the show, stay tuned, more to come. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all in the next segment.